Okay, we are back to do a building tour now. It's the same place that we began and ended the campus tour video. Again, we have Nicholas. Nick is going to do the primary video talking today because he did his master's thesis on the building. Finn is also joining us today. So. Anyway, we're gonna get going here, and we're gonna walk all around and through the building here, and try to give you an idea a little bit about what it's like to be here.
Yeah, as we mentioned in the campus tour, this is what we call the atrium space. It's sort of the heart of the building. We use this space to sort of have critiques. We play volleyball and basketball in here. We sort of gather and hang out between classes. It's really the heart of the building. You can see that it spreads out on the architectural lawn. Excuse those portable buildings there, they're temporary. But this lawn and the atrium here kind of serve as social and academic hubs for the program. The atrium's ringed by studios, 3 levels on the south side and 1 level on the north side, where we spend most of our time. So one of the important spaces along the gallery, or along the atrium here, is our gallery space. This is a space we use to pen up work, to have critique discussions. We have events here, dinners, fundraisers, sometimes socials with the various clubs. And it's really an important space for us at the school.
As you can see inside the gallery right now, there's let's see if we can get rid of the reflections. It's really quite empty. There's a lot of open space right now. We can fill it with 100 people. We put projects and exhibits and shows up there. In fact, I think what we're probably going to try to do is I'll try to splice in a couple of photos.
Let's go into one of the studios.
Great, let's do that.
The architecture school has pretty much every studio on this floor. The interior design students stay with us through design 3, and the landscape students stay with us through design 1. But we occupy these 3 and 3 more in the western bank. And this is a pretty typical studio. So you can see each student gets a desk. They can kind of use them as they need. There's a lot of wall space in here that we use to pin up. And then we use the center table as a common critique space. All of our studios are pretty cool as far as the university standards. We have glass on both sides of them, so there's pretty good view, pretty good light. And this is where students spend most of the time, making, drawing, building, architecting.
So now we'll go check out some other studios and look around some other parts of the building.
All right, so let's go up to the 4th floor where we have the rest of our studios. We share the building with the other programs, so landscape and interior design, mostly on the 3rd floor. We sometimes call these the atrium stairs or the sculptural stairs. They're pretty heroic. One of the things we love about our studios, these glass walls, which were actually added pretty recently in the 2000s and later, they allow us to step out of the studios and be in open air and sunshine and sometimes even rain, which is a good break when you've been in the studio for a long time.
We have an event that we call Door Window Stair Palooza. I'll put in a photo here. And this is one of the things where we have the students display their projects, and we can use the space to have them all together for that. One other thing I'm just going to note is we mentioned in the other video about didactic buildings. We talked about the SAE fraternity house. being didactic. This building was designed to be didactic as well. If you look above me, you can see these are all the pipes, the supply air, the return air, all the plumbing pipes, all the conduit for the electrical. It used to all be painted different colors so you could see what worked, and you could walk around the building and figure out how the building worked. Now we want didactic to work a little differently in terms of how efficient a building is, how a building uses energy, but at the time this kind of showed you how it was made, and that was what the designers favored. All right, let's go into a studio.
So this is an example of one of the graduate school studios. This was actually my studio in the fall and spring of last year, and I did DEP in this room in 2012, which is pretty cool. Again, apologize for the mess. We have a bit of a transition period over the summer where we clean up and reset. But these studios that we call the Curve have a pretty good view, I have to say.
Yeah, you can look right out onto Century Tower. So we ended some of the tour the other day there, but you can see that. They have these terrible temporary buildings that are back on our lawn. They're renovating the music building there next door, and they're using those buildings as transition during part of it, but it kind of ruins our space out here. And you can see there's some other studios over there that we'll walk through. They're all connected together visually and some physically, so you can kind of walk between those spaces. The graduate studios really do, I think, pretty clearly have the best view of this. You can also note, and we'll note this later, there's a curve that you can clearly see in this building. Kind of curves around. Right over there, there's a sinkhole. Over there, it's by where the other offices are, and the buildings are situated to go from the art to the music through and around the sinkhole. We'll probably show you a map here of that as well.
So let's go check out the other graduate studios and we can walk around the building some more. So this is the Grad 1 and 2 studio. That's our first and second semester of grad school. We do a 2-year master's degree here for architecture. And this is sort of the big studio. It's the one where we combine 2 rooms to kind of encourage more studio culture. We talk about this a lot. We've probably already talked about it to you. But studio culture here is the idea that you work with a group of people, you learn from them, you collaborate with them on all of the projects you do. Each student in the school, all the way from year 1 through the graduate program, get their own desk. And so that's why you see each desk sort of personalized, a little different. Some are on cinder blocks. And it's because this is where you work. This is where you spend your time. And that's your space to create.
Yeah, as Nick mentioned, and I think we will have talked to you about, studio culture is important. Having a group of people who you work with, having a space where you do your other homework, having a place where you feel comfortable to work, and you can bounce ideas off of other people is really important. And so we tend to try to develop studio culture because your work gets much better when you're in collaboration with other people. We're going to do that even in the program, and that's what we've probably been talking about a bit. This is why we have time in the evenings when, if you want to work, or times even when we're talking to you in small groups, you have the ability to work and bounce ideas off and begin to build a studio culture. It makes the work much better, and we believe in it as a way to work here, and it usually translates into the way that you work professionally as well. All right, so where are we going next, Nick?
Let's go over to the undergraduate side.
Great.
One of the great things about the way the building is laid out and the way we use it is that the graduate students have a close relationship with the undergraduate students. Oftentimes we GTA, we teach the undergraduate students. We work with them sometimes in joint studios occasionally, and we try to foster that relationship. It's really easy when the studios are this close and you can see across to what's going on. This is our little cafe area that was set up by a student last year, sort of as a work area and break area.
There's a great view from out here. You can see way out across some of the dorms, and that stuff way down south there is the Shands medical area that's at the southern edge of the campus. On this side is where our third and fourth year architecture studios tend to be. No.
And you can see it's pretty typical of the studios around the building. Again, everyone has a private desk. This one has carpet, remnant from a time ways ago. But it's a fun space to be in.
You can see the balconies from up here have sort of a great view out. Look, this one happens to be open. And yeah, you can see out a bit across campus down to what we call Broward Beach, the area beside Broward. There's actually right beyond that dining hall, there's a swimming pool. You can hang out in the swimming pool over there. All right, let's head back in. We're in the hallway of the lower level. I'm just going to show you a little bit of what this sort of area looks like in the building. This is, in fact, my new office. Since I'm no longer the director, I have a smaller, and I like this office much better. There's Finn over there in the office. So when you come to visit with faculty, you come into offices that sort of look like this. Okay, very brief office interlude. I'm going to add this piece in here. We're walking over to Fine Arts C to see if that building is open to get into, but this is the little sinkhole that sits next to the building and the lawn. I think we will have shown you a map of it. But there's a number of these on campus. I think there's 7 sinkholes on campus, but these great little oases that are within campus. Natural areas. There's an island out in the middle there, and that's actually made by the landscape architecture students, and it's floating in the middle of the space. It's actually really cool. So, and then you can see there's the office wing back behind me. Yeah.
And that brings us back up to our atrium.
So we've kind of circumnavigated the building around and through. It's not a terribly big building. How big is the building?
112,000 square feet.
So it's not a terribly big building. It's not small, but it tends to be the center of your life and design school, to be here and between here and where you're going to live. We actually really love it here. It has a quality of home. And I think I called this sacred space when we looked at it at the beginning of the campus tour, but we really do love this space. So we're glad you're joining us here for our summer DEP, and Finn's glad as well. And we hope to see you in person at some point here. So,
We really do.
all right, we're gonna end the building tour here for right now, and we will get back to work.